Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning. How are you? You made it to the weekend. Congratulations. Now you can go to the hairstylist. DFC, just stop wearing those wigs. I'm so glad you joined me. And boy, Friday was just an incredible day. It just ended so well as $1,200 stimulus check is back in play in the stimulus package. Can you imagine? $1,200 stimulus check is back in play in the second stimulus package negotiations. The second stimulus package is now the CR, the Congressional Budget Bill. And eviction moratoriums are being urged to be put in there as well. Oh my goodness. And developing since last night, a federal eviction moratorium has been now extended officially. This is law, actually, the last one. Boy, things are just coming around incredibly well. Now, if only we can get a better hairstyle. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here, and this is your big update about your second stimulus check, your second stimulus package. And you better have some bacon for me. It's early mornings, LALATE. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's early morning to LALATE. I'm so glad you joined me in a day in which, boy, you see the power of the purple. You see the power of the purple because on Wednesday, people were a little bit confused as to why there was no stimulus package. There's no stimulus check in the stimulus package. Why there was no eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance. And we went into early Friday and we saw no progress. And then suddenly the heavens opened up. And we saw a purple rainbow. That's the power of the purple. You did an incredible job of pushing and getting the message out loud and clear. I have more about that in this video, but please subscribe because in addition to that, state stimulus checks of upwards of $1,200 or more are being announced across the board. And what's important to understand is that even though this is a Saturday, I'm working around the clock, and so are my volunteers, which are absolutely incredible. I mean, they're each working 30, 60 different cases of you and your situations to get you rent, food, and utilities in places that didn't even have it less than 24 hours ago. Major cities are announcing rent grants, stimulus check grants, and things like that. So please subscribe because we're really doing incredible work to ensure that you get this money. And you're just doing incredible work as well by sharing the successes so that we impart that same information to other viewers. So please subscribe. Also like this video. And this is an instant premiere if you're tuning in at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday morning. On the side of me is a live chat, so you can chat with your Purple Power friends. For example, if you're in Georgia and you're wondering, what am I talking about this new rent grant, then you can ask someone else and they may know the answer. Or, they may say, go ask Needy. If you have questions or comments, drop them over there and someone else may have them. So thank you for joining me on this instant premiere, which is also featured at 6:30 at the bottom of the hour on the second half of Early Mornings LALATE. Boy, exciting details. So let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news, as you sit here this morning, is that it's like the negotiation heavens have opened up. What we were dealing with is the following. Let me back up because I know it may be a little confusing about what are we actually talking about here. We call it the second stimulus package, but in reality, it's a congressional budget bill to run the operations of the federal government. It's not per se a stimulus package. It's called a CR, a continuing resolution. And on last Sunday, I urged the Purple Power to get out loud and clear to put stimulus in the CR because it has a deadline. The deadline is December 11th, and with a deadline, that could work in our benefit to force them to get this done. It did work. They agreed to put stimulus in the CR. So that is a done deal. When I say third stimulus package, there's going to be a really massive stimulus package the first or second week of January. That's a third stimulus package. I'll go over those deal provisions in a second, like the $2,400 SSI and SSDI. That's in January. So what's in this thing? Well, this thing was announced on Wednesday with two sides announcing memos, not bills. The memos were written by Mitch McConnell after consulting with Donald Trump and a bunch of moderate Democrats. And the moderate Democrat bill and Mitch McConnell's bill both omitted three of the most critical things you absolutely have to have: a stimulus check, eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance. Why are those critical? The stimulus check is the only way to get money to millions and millions and tons of millions of Americans, because the other deal provisions don't apply to them. They would not get anything. And they need it because they're being put on lockdown. They've not gotten stimulus checks for months. And they absolutely have to have it. Then eviction moratorium. Because the eviction moratorium that was created by President Donald Trump is expired in December. So you can't have people being thrown on the street on January 1st in the thick of winter. Finally, a federal eviction federal mortgage moratorium to ensure that your property is not foreclosed upon during this pandemic. Last night, after evening's check, major developments. The federal eviction moratorium was expanded by their inherent authority in a law announcement. So that is a policy law announcement. They now extended it to January of next year, end of next January, for foreclosures. So that's really good. Those are federally backed mortgages. Now, for the eviction moratorium and the mortgage form and the stimulus check, the great news came late Friday from three sides. Four sides. Actually, it's five sides. The first side was our side, which we have been fighting for 24 hours, saying, what are you doing? You're crazy. Why is there no stimulus check in here? I called it inhumane. I called it insane and inhumane to not have a stimulus check, a eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance. You got the message out very loud and clear by tagging McConnell's chief of staff, press secretary, Pelosi's press secretary, Drew, whatever his name is, and then McConnell and Kudlow and everyone else. They got the message because by late Friday, three other forces came out and a fourth. The fourth, I want to do the first one, which is really quite interesting. It's the broadcast news reporters. The broadcast news reporters suddenly stepped up, and you've heard me talk about them for months, that they would simply not talk about your stimulus checks like it was a bad thing to talk about. Well, they talked about it, and they made it frontline lead story on the 6 o'clock evening news on CNBC. With Shepard Smith, he said the second story right after the unemployment numbers was, why is there no second stimulus check in the CR? It was incredible. So what did they have to talk about? They had to talk about three things: Sanders, AOC, and Biden. Biden called a press conference late Friday and said, you know what, this is insane. What's going on? This needs to get done. And then the reporter asked some good question. Well, what would you want to see in there? Do you want to have a stimulus check? He says, oh, absolutely. And she says, well, why did neither the memos mention a stimulus check? Finally, a reporter asked a good question. And Joe Biden came back with a very clear, responsive answer. Oh, no, he said. A second stimulus check is still in play in the negotiations of $1,200. Repeat, a $1,200 second stimulus check is still in play for the second stimulus package, making it very clear that he wants a $1,200 second stimulus check in the negotiations, and he's urging that it be included. Now, let's make something clear. Joe Biden is the lead negotiator for the Democrats. He is telling the Democrats, this is what he wants, and this is what I want you to put in there. He's the one that got them to the table. He said that I told them that ultimately this is not going to be the right bill. You're not going to get everything you want in there, but you certainly have to get the things that you need. He said a stimulus check is needed. Then he said an eviction moratorium is needed because it's insane to evict people in the thick of winter on January 1st. It's like he's listening to this channel. Thank you, Joe. But we weren't done there. Bernie Sanders came forward and literally, in a series of really angry tweets, said, what the hell is this horrible bill from these moderates in the Senate? I'm not going to agree to this. And I'm going to urge every senator not to agree to this. And how dare them say these things? Must have made Nancy Pelosi a little pissed because she had backed something that was so horrible that one of the lead Democrats in the Senate said, this is a mess. I'm not going to support this. And I'm telling everyone in my entire group not to support this. And what did he say? It's an abomination not to have a $1,200 stimulus check. You have to have a stimulus check. Stimulus check is required because the deal provisions of the CR are just for big business, and millions of Americans need relief, and the ones that need relief can only get that relief from a stimulus check. He made it very loud in a series of very angry tweets, which were front page news on CNBC late night on Shepard Smith. Boy, you couldn't get it any clearer than that. And then came AOC, the Democrat out of New York. She said, this is horrible. Who wrote this bill? This is a junk bill. What is this bill? I love it. She said it has to have a stimulus check. What are you doing here? Why is there no stimulus check here? Who wrote this thing? It's as though they had been on vacation for 24 hours, or they had suddenly seen all your tweets, or a combination of the two, and they woke up. Everyone suddenly woke up on a Friday afternoon and said, what is this horrible thing you've been doing for 2 days? No one likes this. I don't like this. We're not going to support this. So now we have that, and we have even more good news. Larry Kudlow, the chief economic advisor to Donald Trump, who has the president's ear around the clock about economic policy, appeared on CNBC early on Friday morning and said, you know what? There's a lot of money at SBA that could be repurposed. Larry was not wearing a purple tie when he said this, but he might as well have, because it sounded like he had been watching the channel again. And I'm not paraphrasing. Those are the exact words he said. There's SBA money of PPP that can be repurposed at SBA. He just didn't do the hand gestures that I do. And he said it's about $600 billion, at least $600 billion. Hello? Also in the same report, we learned that a $1,200 stimulus check costs about $300 billion. So hello. Larry Kudlow said, I don't understand what's going on with these people in these CR negotiations. Why aren't they repurposing the CARES Act 1 money and just send that out? It's just sitting there. I keep on asking people just repurpose the money. It's sitting there, just wasted money. Why don't you use the money that's sitting there? Hello. Thank you, Larry. So repurposing that CARES Act 1 money would amount to at least 2 stimulus checks. So at least there's enough money to cover this. This goes back to the big point, which I made about 3 days ago. I haven't said in the last 2 days, which is Mitch McConnell doesn't want to go over $500 billion. You don't have to, Mitch. There's $300 billion sitting at SBA that would pay this $1,200 stimulus check that Joe Biden wants us to have. Done deal. Sign it and send it out, and we're done. And we go home on December 10th. I mean, it's so simple. People always say, oh, like, why aren't you running? Because I just don't understand who does the math with these people. I understand their calculators don't work in the case of Larry Kudlow, except today it worked very well. But the rest of it is just so strange. So now viewers are a little bit perplexed about what else is in these memos and what could you get. What's important to understand is that there will be an extension of UI for 1 month. There will be an extension of PUA for 1 month at least. As I choke because I'm like, this is also weird. I don't think you're going to see FPUC for a month. It is possible you can, but it just sounds really weird to do FPUC for the month of January. And then in January, Joe Biden come in and do FPUC for the months of July to December after he just did January. It sounds very confusing. I don't think it's going to get done that way because it doesn't make sense. So what's going to happen in January? Joe Biden has made clear he's going to clean this all up in January. Well, Joe, I hope you do, because this is just a mess. He says that he's going to do $600 FPUC retroactive to August. That's really nice. I just got to hope you win both those Senate seats in Georgia, because Mitch is not going to give you $600 a week of FPUC retroactive for 20-something weeks, which is like $18,000 a person. He says that hazard pay is going to be coming in the third stimulus package. $2,400 SSI and SSDI, plus the 20% increase, plus the step up. And then all the other things that you're wondering about, rent, food, EIDL, and more. Finally, I did not have a lot of time to go over in this recording, but I'll do it in the next one. States have done incredible jobs in the last 24, 48 hours. They are stepping up with stimulus checks, with rent checks, which is free money, and with eviction moratoriums and things like that, and the extension of unemployment weeks. If you're even in a city like New York or Atlanta or San Diego, where you may have looked for these things, or Houston, or you may have looked for these things in just the last 2 days or 3 days, because I've been doing these recordings about CARES Act 1 grants for now 2 weeks. And you saw it, and it was like closed, been closed since August or closed since September. Guess what? They found money. I don't know where it is. Is it under the mattress of Andrew Cuomo's house? Is it under Gavin Newsom's mattress? They just keep on finding money. And I'm not joking. They literally say, we found some money. We have some extra money from CARES Act 1. We just found it. And so now they're announcing all these stimulus packages everywhere across the country at the 11th hour. Now, that's not a surprise because I've been telling you this for a while. I told you they're going to use the money at the 11th hour before now, December 15th, because it's use or lose, and the date to return the money is just around the corner. So this is very exciting news. I'll have more about this throughout the day and more about this recording right after this. As always, stay informed, stay smiling. See you in a few minutes at the 6:30 edition with more about that state money that you can get right now. As always, stay with LA for more.